Hi and welcome. It's just a quick reminder to everybody out there that all society um, is basically, all of society is actually man made. That is to say, it's a layer, okay, which is a fabricated, made up system on top of the actual earth that we live upon, which is true reality. Society doesn't exist, meaning culture doesn't exist. It does exist, but it only exists in our minds and in our behaviors. So everything we create is symbolic of our mind state, which is often um, lazily or hastily, you know, uh, running off choices we make based on a limited system of information, memories, what we tell ourselves, you know, in our mind are foundational truths from which we should step forward on and move from. Uh, it's basically layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of our own fairy tales. People telling themselves bad things all the time, and so they tell themselves fairy tales upon that. It's always they're trying to counteract their thoughts. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Their mind's in a burning, living hell. It would seem. Um, they believe in systems. What do you call it? Popular ideas. What do you call that? Demographic. That's a word I didn't know what the meaning was, but democratic, is it? Democrat. Basically, they believe in the popular vote. They believe in what's accepted to be social norms, the narrative, and all they know is the layer they're currently on, or maybe a little bit about why they're doing it, which is why they are creating or taking part in this layer of nonsense, is because the foundational truth beneath it, as they know, the ground they're standing on, that's the truth, as in the mental ground they're standing on for their behavior is knowledge. That knowledge is seen as is perceived as truth, when actually it's just a layer, another layer, which was layered upon another one, which was layered upon another one, and it's been going on for generations. We've created various different technologies, some that are useful, some which are not, some which help us, some which can harm human life, but ultimately it's all symbolic. It's symbolic. Everything we create is symbolic. Our behaviors are symbolic of our limited understanding. When you deliberately be symbolic in your expression, an expression of, what do you got, symbolicism? Is that a word? Symbol. You throw symbols out there with words, some kind of gang signs, same thing. Any kind of whichever way you're trying to express. Just the way society is. When you wake up, when you walk out there and look in the world, everything there is all symbolic, as in its expression, which is being projected out, externally projected out, okay, from the foundational belief in their mind, which is their knowing, they believe it to be true, the foundation, which is a perceived truth, it's a perception. They've perceived things to be such and such a way, as in one, and so they express two, they project out now step two. Step two, which is the world when people are fabricating, making up here, people see that, and so do new generations of human beings being born on the earth, and they perceive that to be the truth, and it's projected upon them that it is the truth too, so they're seeing as the more or less the only truth in close proximity to their five senses. It would seem so apparent. They're having the wall pulled over their eyes, they're having the matrix shoved in their face, and they are told by everybody else around them that it is true. Just like in the movie 1984, those movies are based on the books by George Orwell, they are being told that this is true. Their perceptions tell them that what's being projected upon them is true, it enforces that. And the projections being forced on them also enforce their, even though there's a little something there niggling in the back of their mind with some people, but the projections that are being forced upon them also enforce the strength of their belief in the perceptions which they're already having, which this is true, supposedly, around them. Language of all kinds, written, spoken, symbols, slogans, all of it, all the talk, everything that's going, it's all talk. The companies you see, politics, money, everything. Every logo, every slogan, every rule that's put in place, laws which are made, changed and broken, improvements which are being made by people in high places. Bad things which are not being changed fast enough by people who are in low places, which the people in high places will put down. All the customs, all that, yeah. All the customs, yeah. All the cultures, you know, the social norm, and it doesn't exist in reality. Whether you believe in a flat earth or a globe earth, heaven, hell, multiverses or whatever, we live in a universe, we live in this thing, whether it's space, whatever, we've got this planet earth with nature, and that's what we live on. I'm not an expert in biology, physics and science and astrotheology and all that, but I know this, we are made of flesh and bone, and everything in the universe is made of smaller building blocks, such as the quarks, Q-U-A-R-K, Q-U-A-R-K-S, quarks, Planck energy. We are made of smaller building blocks, which then they make up things such as cells and atoms, photons, neutrons, cells, all that in the body. These things are real. The biological state of this human being, human body that we each have, needs various things such as air to breathe, oxygen. We need to eat and drink. But there is no such thing as a price, okay, as currency, as money. That is a made-up thing. There is no such thing as your sweat and effort in action, your sweat and your effort, or your mind or your words, any expression or any activity of you, there is no such thing as that controlling another person's mind. Delve into the workings of your mind, rather than just following what you've been told in society. Then you realize you have your own head. Question. You may not express it to everybody else, but when you have moments of peace by yourself, think carefully why one thought affects another, or what the origins of the origins are in your thinking. Look around you. Ask yourself why you can't do things and say things positively, in a good way, which you are in control of. Why one human being, which is made of bones, flesh, blood, and atoms, quarks, everything, blood, right, flesh, just the same as you, doesn't matter who they are, anyone, you may think there's such thing as hierarchy, it doesn't exist. There's true knowledge, and then there's knowledge of the things which have been fabricated in the system, different pieces of code which are put into this society. You need to know this knowledge in order to get into this area of society, so you can have more money and face, avoiding starvation, or avoid facing starvation and other torture that they put on you, to make you feel that you're doing something or not with your energy and time on this earth, your health, which is all that life is. Make no mistake, health and time is all your life is. So you learn this and you learn that. Things which were fabricated, written by people. You talk about these kind of things, important people, important institutions of education, important anything you see in society. These things were created. In fact, they weren't even actually created. They don't even actually exist. There's only truth. Your body functions as a human body no matter what. But your mind, how pure and true is that? Why is it behaving like in a machine-like way? Because it's been coded, as like it's been coded by other people. You said because you can't get along in society, you can't survive without playing the game of nonsense. Yeah, but you need to know that. You don't go around all day spewing the same lie to yourself and everybody. It's doing no good for you or any generation. Talking about society, this is what it is. In my culture, we do it this way. In this culture, you do it that way. We need to respect. And all this, you should respect the human being. If you don't respect the truth in every individual human being, and you control and oppress how people speak and behave, excuse me, and you punish honest, natural behavior, excuse me, you force people to try to, and brainwash people into believing that good behavior is wrong behavior, and you enforce violence upon people in any way, and harm, and the idea that there are hierarchies, and better and worse amongst the people in society, and that there should be followers of people who are put in place as leaders that don't actually lead anything but their own mouth and buttocks when they go to the toilet. Because one general doesn't control an army of people, or a king or an emperor. The soldiers fly those planes themselves. They wear clothes that they didn't sew themselves. They drive tanks which they didn't build themselves. And there are doctors prescribing medicines which they didn't actually take part in the production of. It's almost like if I was to take this toilet roll and start drinking from it. It ain't going to happen, so you take the cup of tea instead. Only truth exists. Societies and cultures are fabricated systems on top of the natural earth. We are made of the energy, the stuff of the universe. You have a mind, just as any emperor of history has a mind and a body. Just as you decide when to go to the toilet or go to sleep, is the same as the ignorance and the choices that were just made up on the spot. When a king says behead someone, or a king says, go and attack a people or whatever. Yeah, when a boss fires someone without much looking into the matter, when a boss gives people pay rises just when he feels like it, it's all injustice. There's a lot of injustice. Lack of truth is injustice. Righteousness is truth. True right is true. True logic, true. Nature is right. Nature is true. You can only work with things as they are. A rock in its state, water in its state, sunlight and trees in the forest. They are what they are. And you are one human being with a body the way it is, and a mind the way it is. It's not what you see, it's how good your seeing is. It's not really, ideas of how much firewood you can take back from the forest and collect in a day. It's basically your life force, your body, your health. It is you before anything you do. And by nature, you are a truth, an essence, a physical manifestation, essence of truth in the physical body. And your mind is also, it's part of you, part of the physical, you could say. So why discard the mind? When you're in a taxi, you don't discard the driver. Even if it's run on AI, you still want good AI, right? You know what I'm saying? So you've got to have grounds to stand on. Right now they're trying to build, buildings in the sky. So you've got to have reality. All this talk about what's accepted by people or in your culture or amongst these people or in that culture. No, if there's no respect for truth, you don't have respect for the individual. If you don't have respect for the individual, you don't have respect for the culture, the whole culture. And if you don't respect that, you don't respect all humanity, obviously. You have to respect the one. Meaning you need to know it in yourself, truth and acceptance. Not following like a robot because a bunch of people says it's the popular idea we need to follow, or that someone above of some status gets the final word. No. Okay? Truth. As your body functions, so should all of humanity in its natural state. If each human was allowed to flourish, and if each human did not go around forcing and imposing their ways upon others, you will see natural harmony in things. Greed and fear, all of these things will hopefully be much better resolved, we'll put it that way, and cleaned up. Society is a man-made structure. Man and woman, no, it's a human-made, it's a people-made layer upon the actual foundation, which is the true earth, the true living life. There we go. So, it's a people-made, but the people are forgetting the human inside. You are not a number. You are a living being. You are not a flag, unless you are, you know what I mean? Like, what if there's a flag of this planet Earth, the human race flag? Yeah, we don't have one, do we? That's a very interesting point, actually. So, you know, that I know of, I'm not sure about that. What do you represent? What do we as a collective of individuals represent, if not truth? The fighting, the fear and jealousy amongst us that we keep messing about with, that needs to stop.